Hello.
What?
Impromptu thing. Ah.
Are you recording now?
Yeah.
You didn't say. Oh my god.
Consider turning down video settings for fast. I'm gonna turn these on just a little bit. There we go.
Okay, and we're here. Welcome to the very first show that is going to be the YoubTooz podcast.
Shit,
The
I don't
name-
know how to do things.
This name could very well change because
No,
let's
it's
face it.
YoubTooz. It's YouTooz.
Nah, yeah, until we get sued.
It's YoubTooz. How the fuck is that bad?
It's still close enough to be similar. Could end up redirecting. You know what? Fuck it. Anyway.
Who cares?
In
It's
this
fast,
episode,
okay.
we have decided that through the genius process of just random bullshit go, that we are
We
going
did
to
it.
talk about.
Good.
We're going to talk about video game flops today.
Lops.
Flops or flops?
Flops. FLOPS.
No one introduced us. Hold on. I gotta introduce us. So I'm Moo, or Shimu Kohai, or Shay. I don't care what y'all call me. Down with the orange box with the Mino PFP, that's Fulfy.
Excuse me.
And the one with the Munchlax is Munch. Or am I allowed to call you by
Like-
your actual name? Or no,
You can call me by my first name. It's fine.
or Tyler. I won't say Fulfy's
Nexus.
Nexus.
Yes, hello, Snowmreds. It is your Secretary General of the Snowmeat Union. As always.
Okay, so
Munchlax.
What the hell are we doing?
Munchlax. So we didn't think this through.
Of course not, because every single time we try to do one of these things, it's on the spot impromptu bullshit.
Listen.
I mean, if we're talking
finished-
about video game flops, there's one as of recent that I know of that's been a major flop.
Sword
Okay.
and Shield.
We're getting right into it.
Why are you saying that about Sword and Shield? Sword and Shield was a good game.
I
It's
don't
a
know.
good game.
Talking
It has-
about
It feels the whole idea of its DLC thing flop. But sorry, move on. Going on.
The only reason why I said it is because I kept seeing memes about the animations are shit in the game. But that's just a meme thing. So I don't know if that's like I saw one GIF of one of the legends. The way they turned, it just looked stupid. Looked like something you'd see in like a 2009-ish game, something like that. I don't know. I'm not like I love playing video games.
Nintendo's still experimenting with 3D Pokemon.
That's fair.
That's fair.
So you
So-
can't shit on them for that, but we can
Alright,
shit
so-
on Battleland Wonderworld.
Oh god.
Oh god.
I should have known better. Hold on, I gotta adjust Fulfy's audio.
You should have known this was gonna happen. I'm sorry, but we both should have known that she was gonna bring this
Yeah.
up again.
This is Big
Fun
Stinky.
fact, they did pull the demo. They took away the ability to get a demo for the game.
Oof.
And the
Not
entirety
bad,
of the,
huh? Damn.
yeah, and the entirety of like the lore for the game, like everything that's going on, it's explained in an unpromoted book.
Smart move.
Let me get this straight. They have a book for the lore for a game that they just decided not to
They,
keep
they
releasing
don't
anymore.
they didn't want to put like words into it because I think the creator was like going for a you understand what's happening through the actions on the screen.
Right.
Oh shit.
But
Oh.
nobody understood a thing, and only some people figured out there was a book
Sorry, my
that
phone
goes
went off.
alongside the game,
Here's the thing.
Jesus.
Five Nights at Freddy's did
and
that
it reads
better.
like a script.
Okay, Shay has a point, yes.
Five Nights at
Freddy's
Freddy's-
did do that type of thing better.
FNAF did it a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, because they actually showed lore. It's just the books put more into the lore that was established in the games. Like they
If you're
expanded.
talking about like the
Oh,
Silver
hail
Eyes,
Scott Coffin.
if you're
Huh,
talking
what?
about the Silver Eyes series, that's not like canon to the storyline from what I'm aware of.
As you
I
were saying,
don't know what that
Nexus.
is. Oh, hail Scott Coffin.
Scott Cawthon, all hail.
But,
Uh,
okay. So hang on. I I have my own bit of grief when it comes to video game flops that I need to get off my chest here.
Oh
Because
no.
I absolutely hate that one of my favorite development studios did this. I hate
Oh,
that
no.
they somehow managed, after doing so well in the past expansions and setups, that they managed to fuck this up. Frontier Developments in Elite Dangerous Odyssey.
I gotta turn you down again because you're
Elite
like.
Dangerous it's one of my favorite games of all time. Anyone who knows me, who has known me long enough, will tell you this. It is one of my favorite games of all time. I love space. I love going out in space. I love exploring. I love trading. I love piracy. Not related to the game at the same time. Also related to the game.
I was
Nobody heard
going to
that.
say, Nexus, are you engaging in illegal crimes? Oh shit, my mic is
Does that
muted.
mean
No,
I
I'm
can
not.
lick the
But
Pepsi can again?
I'm not. But I do engage in a lot of illegal heresy on Elite Dangerous itself. But back to the flop itself. So their most recent update, right? They promised us a bunch of shit. And especially one thing in particular though is they promised a whole lot of environments that were supposed to be like, big, gorgeous ice planets, the possibility of less tropical jungles. The entire thing is that you're supposed to be able to finally get our space legs, something that we have been begging for years, years, and they completely fucked it up. Most of the worlds that you get to go to are almost barren. Now, granted, for a lot of these places that barely have any type of atmosphere, that's fine. But for a lot of these ice planets that were supposed to look like they were just like gorgeous ice shelves and all this different stuff and just like glaciers, we got nothing but flat deserts of bits of ice. Just utter disappointment. And then there comes the stability issues. We've got reports of frame rates just completely tanking on graphics cards that are absolutely beefy. We've got crashes that have been happening out of nowhere. We had to have like 4 different hotfixes that have showed up. I think it was like 4 different hotfixes just for the fleet carriers alone. Now, in relation to myself, because I'm a console player for this doesn't really have anything to do with me yet. And by the time I finally get to it, I may not have to deal with it. But for all those PC players that have been waiting just as long as we have up to this point, it's a crushing blow, especially with all the hype they brought around it. I want to know how bad this is. Here's an example. Here's an example. When they did the most recent hotfix to try and fix something that happened with the fleet carriers, they somehow managed to knock an entire space station out of orbit.
How does someone do that?
I don't know how the hell this happened, but as soon as pilots were starting to go on Twitter, commanders were starting to go on Twitter saying that, hey, at Frontier, I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but Oracle Station, after it had come under attack by the aliens, is falling out of the sky. Like, it's literally just dropping out of orbit, descending towards the planet at an incredibly fast speed. It's going to crash in about 9 hours. People went into hysterics over it, going, hey, wait, is this a bug? Is this something that's actually supposed to be happening? Later, we find out after 2 extra hotfixes to finally fix the damn shit with the fleet carriers. They were also trying to fix this bug. It slowed down at first with the first hotfix, and then they finally managed to fix it with the last hotfix and made it rubber band back up into position. People were mad. Like, it would have, and here's how they played it off like this. Because a lot of times when this type of thing happens in game, they decide that they're going to do lore, right? They make it a whole entire lore segment in Galnet News about this, saying that the reason it went down was because of an engine failure as a result of the attacks. Now, that would have worked if not for. I'm gonna have to mute myself
Cliffhanger.
for a moment. What do you take over?
Huh? What?
Mute myself for a moment. What do you take over?
Oh.
Oh. Impromptu. Oh. I know. Also, apologies. This is all impromptu, so I should state this. If you guys hear anything in my background, I've been trying to adjust my audio. I apologize. Okay, so this isn't completely video game related, but it is video game related, so please bear with me. Okay, so as of recent, I've been obsessing over Mortal Kombat 11, and I have grown a simpage. Some dare say a hyperfixation. Thanks, autism. for one of the characters, Shiva. Yeah, hyperfixation might be a slight understatement, but anyways. So, I was actually looking up her backstory and stuff, and I noticed this thing. Sorry, I have to adjust my headset because I can't hear myself, and if I can't hear myself, I'll lose my shit. Brain. Okay, and I noticed that DC did a comic series with Mortal Kombat. I think it was based on Mortal Kombat 10. I can't completely remember. And encoding overloaded. Oh god, I hope I don't lose the footage. So from most of the renditions of Shiva, I've noticed she's a lot darker skinned, or she at least presents as not white. Well, in the DC comics, she's a little whiter than usual. Just a little as I stretch my arms out to their maximum wingspan. I don't know. I just don't like the fact that they didn't stay consistent with her quote unquote ethnicity. I know she's a Shogun, so they don't really have ethnicities, but just on a human basis, pretend that she's human. Ethnicity, kind of. You know what I mean, Fofi? You get what I'm saying? No, you have
How
no
bad
idea.
would it be if I said that I was completely distracted?
Not bad at all because I was distracted while Nexus was talking. I was listening, but also adjusting my audio and trying to make sure it
Okay.
wasn't like what.
Sorry to hear slight things in the background. There is someone who's decided to run a vacuum in the background.
Oh, don't get angry. Anyways, back to my rant. So I looked up different pictures for her because I was actually trying to look for a profile picture, and I noticed like only in DC Comics she looks, you know, white, or at least not original ethnicity. Because like any other rendition, she's at least not necessarily hinted at. Or hold on one second. Sorry about that. I didn't want to cough into my mic. At least has some hintage at I'm seeing white stars. At like, you know, like the anything other than Caucasian. Sorry, my brain
What?
is Caucasian white. I don't know who said what, but there. So that's not a game flop, but that's just a slight inconsistency annoyance I have. It's just like if you're gonna design a character into your comic, stay at least somewhat consistent with the designs. I know with like I'm gonna harken every time I talk about Mortal Kombat, I'm gonna harken to Mortal Kombat Armageddon because I grew up on that. If you're gonna be designing someone, at least stay somewhat consistent. Why are we getting distracted, Wolfie?
Nexus, weren't you ranting about a game with space?
He's waiting for vacuum.
Oh. Well, let's stay on the topic of game flops.
Oh, sorry. I guess it's not a game flop, it's a game inconsistency. Does that count?
I don't know.
Long story
Probably
short,
not, since the game is still pretty successful, and or as far as I know, a lot of people really like Mortal Kombat.
I don't know. I just like to point out inconsistencies. Long story short, consistency. Anyway, I don't know. I just found that to be a pet peeve. Just consistency. Do you have any game flops, Wolfie?
I know another one that was like, I'm not sure if this one was so much as a flop, but the person who created the game had a helping hand in Battleland. It was like the creator of Nights in the Dreams. I'm not sure if it was a flop or not, due to how like I'm not sure how many people actually know of the game. So far as I know, like not many people actually know of it.
I've never
It's an
heard
old
of it.
Sega game, but Sonic was like the person who created Nights in the Dreams is more well known for like creating the designs of Sonic. They're more known for Sonic and lesser known for Knights.
I was gonna say I've never heard of the game.
Okay, I'm trying now. It shouldn't be as prevalent in the background.
Yeah. Do you know if Knights in the Dreams was a flop?
Nights of Dreams? No, to my knowledge, it wasn't a flop. It wasn't exactly like super well known, but it wasn't really a flop in
It
terms of.
wasn't?
No, I don't think so. Hang on a minute.
Most people don't really know about it from what I know.
Like,
More
I knew
people
about
know about Sonic.
I knew about Nights of Dreams because of Sonic.
I
Like,
never knew about Knights in the Dreams until someone told me about it.
like some of the original Nights games that were supposed to come out in the Dreamcast and stuff, were
Yeah.
referenced in games like Sonic and Sonic Adventure DX. And Sonic, I think it was Sonic Adventure DX, or it was Sonic, yeah, Adventure, Sonic Battle Adventure 2 Battle. No, it was Sonic Adventure DX. Well, there was this area that you could go into. I think it was in the casino level in the city, and you're playing as Knuckles, looking for the emeralds. And one of the places that you could go through, you had to deal with I don't even remember. It's something like that where you had to go through a knights based level,
Yeah.
and they had like a whole bunch of different stuff. And I remember they had like this whole thing with cards, different playing cards. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of trippy, just like Knights itself.
Yeah.
But now I'm back just to wrap up what I was talking about earlier. The whole thing about space. Because sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think we're gonna go on several tangents, and the only one that's gonna keep us on track is Fulfy.
Because I'm definitely not done with this rant I'm going on here. Because here's the thing: they had so many different ways they could have fixed this, and like, if it weren't for the fact that this thing wasn't in like saying it was in terms of physics in a stable orbit far above the planet where it shouldn't have crashed, I would have believed that an engine failure would have made sense. But no, they just had to go with it had to be the cheapest cop out possible. Now, I don't blame FDev. They're kind of in a rough spot with trying this because they decided that they were going to try and get this done in the absolute minimal amount of time possible. And they rushed it. Like they beyond rushed it. And as someone who's played Elite Dangerous for years, it's breaking. It's heartbreaking.
I'm getting distracted easily. I shouldn't be this distracted. I have a necklace.
I will go over there and bonk you with a bonk gift.
I have a necklace that can't finish because like the other end of the loop is missing, so that it's kind of broken, and I've been playing with it. I get distracted really easily. Everyone will learn this the more podcasts we do. I get distracted very easily.
Now, another thing that recently kind of flopped, and this is something that it's flopping, but I hope, and I think that it will eventually pick back up. Is oh, yeah, it is okay. Is the very newest
Very newest
intellectual property by Square Enix, but the geniuses behind Final Fantasy.
Oh boy.
They decided to come up with a third-person shooter action role-playing game called Outriders.
Oh,
Now,
God.
Outriders.
My brain immediately thought you were about to say D&D.
I mean, there is a new D&D game coming out. Like an actual, like a video game style thing for D&D, but I digress. Outriders. It had a really rough start in terms of like when they first released the beta stuff and the demos that came out. It's very clunky. It was like very, very, very clunky. It had issues where things would just not run smoothly. People were having trouble getting logged in. It did not look like it was starting very well, but looking at what I'm seeing now in terms of like the Metacritic gave it a 74, which
I just thought of another one, but I'll wait till you finish.
So Metacritic was a little bit more critical. GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which is, all things considered, it's not doing too bad. But yeah, Metacritic bullshit them apparently. Which really sucks because the game itself is actually a lot of fun. They've managed to come up with a whole, different types of gunplay and stuff. The one thing that really frustrates me about it in particular is just how unpolished it was, given how much time they had to work with it. And the fun fact that it released on April 1st, 2021, when it was all still coming out this unpolished, it's just like the greatest April Fool's joke that Square Enix could have put on its fan base. The game's addictive. It's gonna really addictive game for you, but everything. But without the polish, it's not gonna be able to succeed. And I hope that they get that polish. That's gonna be polished from here soon, because I really want this game to succeed. But so far, it's been a flop, and it sucks.
I don't know
Speaking-
any other flops.
Speaking of flop, remember when Cyberpunk 2077 initially first came out?
No,
I
no,
never
that
looked
game, no,
into that.
that game has been. No, we're not doing that here. That game has been done to death.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch video game flop stuff. I just watch Mortal
Eh.
Kombat stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right. I see.
Long
Okay.
story short, game bad goober.
Okay, now here's in terms game bad B-A-D fix. In the words of Russian Badger, Ubisoft game bad B-A-D fix.
Do you? We're at 20 minutes. I don't know many game flops. It'd just be you two. And
Now-
All I know
Yeah.
is Balan.
Given the recent stuff, and it's still fairly early in terms of games when it comes to release dates, because a lot of the stuff isn't gonna fucking release until the holidays. Let's look at just looking back on some of the other game flops that happened from maybe say 2020.
See, I wouldn't know that kind of stuff. I don't go into game culture. I just play video game.
Say the
I
video
don't pay
game.
much attention to what games are flopping unless they just pop up out of nowhere like, oh hey, that game's shit. Haha.
It's usually cases where I'm playing games myself to know that something is just not right. The
We're
one thing that always pops
unqualified.
up is Cyberpunk 2077. Now,
We are
think about this.
unqualified, but we are gonna do it.
we're doing our best here.
I'm not sure if this one GameCube game was a flop or not, but I think it was called Crazy Taxi. It was either a GameCube game or a Nintendo
Crazy
64
Taxi.
game.
Now I know what you're talking about. Crazy Taxi.
Cause I know my
Yeah,
dad had a
it was
copy of it.
I know it was in some cases it was a commercial flop. It did okay. And I know it did okay in terms of Metacritic gave it an 80. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10. GameSpot gave it an 8.7 out of 10. The initial release date of the original Crazy Taxi was really? You're kidding me.
What?
1999. I thought it was later than that. Hold on a minute.
Doobity boop, doobity doo, doobity boop, doobity doo.
Oh my god. Okay, I just made myself feel really old. I made myself feel old.
Did you see that Shrek is 20?
Okay, so it had to have released on PlayStation that, or it initially came out at, okay. Wait, how old? What about Shrek?
Shrek is 20.
Jesus Christ. The PlayStation 2 is turned 21 this year.
Wait, did you say Shrek is 20?
Shrek,
Yeah.
Shrek itself, the movie turns 20. Yeah, turns
I'm
20 this year.
20.
It means you came around just as Shrek did. You were born in the year of Shrek.
Amazing. I was born
And
in
you were
the
also
year.
born.
I was born a year after the Shrek.
You were born just a year after PlayStation 2.
I was born in the year of the Shrek. I was born in a lot of things.
Yeah, but the PlayStation 2 made me just feel old right now. The original thing, Sony PlayStation 2 came out in October 2000. PlayStation 2 is 21 years old,
I'm a year
and I'm
younger.
sad.
I am younger than the PlayStation. Did you say
The,
PlayStation 2?
the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 1 came out in 1994. So the PlayStation is currently 26 years old, as old as I am.
I was born in 2001.
We're getting off track here.
Can we just talk
Yes,
about
we
video
are.
games in general? Because I can't think of flops, and I feel stupid
Yeah,
for not.
listen, that's well. I mean, we already got the thing about our plots out of here, but there's like one thing in particular I'm trying to find here. Okay, it's game flopping
just
in
video
general.
games.
Oh, there is this one. I'm not sure if it was a flop or not, because I saw it in a card shop that I bought myself. It was the
Oh,
Adventures of Billy and Mandy GameCube game.
okay.
I think I remember you showing me that.
Yeah. The Grim
never-
Adventures of Billy and Mandy as a GameCube game. It's basically a beat 'em all game with like the shortest story mode you could ever think of.
I don't remember this game existing. I legitimately don't.
Well, it's 1 to 4 players, and it takes up 1 block on a memory card.
Ooh,
You could
okay.
be Billy, be Mandy,
IGN
any of
doesn't
the
have a rating
characters
for
as
this.
you unlock them.
eBay gave it a 4.6 out of 5, but I think it's just because of the nostalgia factor of the game itself. It got a 60. It got a 69 on Metacritic. Nice, but at the same time, not nice.
What? I'm zoning out a lot. Sorry.
Adventures of Billy and Mandy, like it got a 69 on Metacritic.
I'm gonna assume that's bad.
That's bad, but at the same time, nice. Funny number.
Nice. 69.
I mean, it is a 3D whack-a-mole game.
True. So games. Yeah, not it. Top video game.
Pretty sure I only played it for like a day or two before being bored with it. Like, yeah, no, this isn't fun. I made a horrible $5 purchase.
Yeah, like I mean, at least it was only $5.
Yeah.
Okay, so now in terms of video games, there's a couple of different ones. Oh, here's a good one.
Hmm.
Here's a good one that I forgot. Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh?
I have a personal. I have a personal axe to grind about this game.
Oh no.
I
We're
have
gonna
a
be
personal
here.
motherfucker. Okay, so this game was trapped in development hell for how long? It was trapped in development hell for at least a decade, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong, but it was like
Correct him in the comments below.
yeah, it was an entry that was supposed to come in. Like it was announced in 1997. Think about this. It spent 15 years. 15 years in development. People were listing it as vaporware. It was waiting for that long. Like when the Quake 2 engine came out, they had started making it. It was supposed to be developed initially. It was initially developed by Gearbox, who developed the Borderlands series, right? Gearbox did such a great job of the Borderlands series. How could they fuck this up? It released in 2011 after spending 15 years in development hell to be criticized as the most disappointing game for that entire year. Because the development process got so tangled up, nobody knows what exactly was going on. It was obvious that they had conflicting design styles and everything, design choices. The game itself just, I think, was too far ahead of its timeline. Like back then, a lot of the stuff in the game would have made sense because the whole entire thing is that it's just like this big, super buff macho man doing cheesy one-liners while trying to get all the trying to get all the babes, as he would say. And the whole entire thing, just like it went down the toilet. It went down the toilet.
Speaking of a guy getting all the babes, I was talking to my dad. So, Nexus, you remember when you bought me the first 3 games of Serious Sam, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was talking to my dad about that, and he said, well, did he get you Serious Sam 4? And I said, no. And he's like, he said something along the lines of good because it didn't do too well. So I don't know if that counts I don't know.
I would probably say so. I don't know anything about Serious Sam 4.
Apparently it
Grim
just
Fandango, Grim Fandango is not a commercial failure. You take that back.
huh?
The website is bullshit.
I was gonna say it
Psychonauts
just
wasn't a commercial failure. What?
all I know is that yeah, it apparently didn't do so well. It could have been better basically.
These are not failures. On here. Okay, no, this is all lies. Conker's Bad Fur Day was not a commercial failure. It was one of the most celebrated Nintendo games of all time.
I was actually watching JonTron and he mentioned that game.
I have it. It's so much fun. I never got the chance to play it, of course, back when I was younger, because obviously the game is very, very much NSFW. Um, and for
Breasts?
and for something that Nintendo would have made, it made absolutely no fucking sense. But like the game is, it's wonderful. Anyway, people who are fans of Banjo Kazooie, play who are like grown up now, just play Conker's Bad Fur Day. You won't regret it.
Oh, speaking of I was about to mention, I know JonTron had mentioned this.
That's another flop commercially, and just in the general thing of being it was the most
Nuts and
disappointing.
bolts.
Yes, Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. It was the most disappointing thing for Nintendo fans.
Oh,
Besides
I
maybe
think I heard
Daikatana.
about that.
Yeah, and Daikatana's a whole other can of worms that I might get into later. But like Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, it failed just on the principle that they changed the game's direction about halfway through it, and you can tell that they did this because the game itself was meant to follow the formula of being a platforming game with it's also a collectathon. Like it's a big open world adventure type area. You can go around and collect all this different stuff, unlock things, and it was a grand old time. Like it fit the formula way back then. But they decided that they were gonna take the tried and true formula and just throw it into a wood chipper and start fresh with a fucking Lego car simulator.
Oh.
They turned it into a kart racing game, basically, where you build your own custom cars out of scrap parts, like a fucking Lego kit. And they left. Here's the thing: they left all these big open world areas for you to explore, but they're absolutely empty. Like it was obvious that from the game's bare bones that it was meant to be an actual Banjo and Kazooie game. And this devastated so many people because it was like there was so much promise. There was absolutely so much promise. And Rareware just I guess they got into a conflict with like Microsoft and how they wanted to go the direction of the game, and everything just went.
Oh, jeez.
I can't think of games to talk about that flop. I just like nitpicking at
I'm out
stupid
of
shit.
flopped games too.
I think it's because people just don't like to talk about the flops because obviously they're flops. Like a couple of these games that I've seen in somebody's lists, I was
I know
looking at
people
first,
love
the flops
talking about Balan.
did
It
not
was
do well.
the
I
one
just-
guy's only chance, really.
Never heard of Rocket Arena. I don't know what that is.
Oh, so I just thought of one. So I was
that?
watching Mark, this was a while back. He was playing this game, and essentially the premise was if you unlocked a certain amount of things or if you like found certain elements within one game, he'll unlock the next game if he has like enough proof. And Mark was getting fed up with the first game that was initially released cuz it just was like so bad. So I looked it up on Steam and everyone was getting pissed about the game's quality, and they were basically shit talking, not necessarily shit talking, but shit talking in a way about the creator of the game, who is like uptight in a not uptight, but like he's just arrogant in a sense, just like, oh, I made these really cool games, and like the games are kind of clunky and shit. If I can remember the video, I will link it in the description. But like, essentially, in my video, I'll link it. The one that Mark plays, and then you can just look up on Steam the game that he's talking about. And it was supposed to be like an 11-part series, but you can tell by Mark's facial expressions and his annoyance that the game was bad. The game was like so bad. It just seemed like a what's the word? It just seemed pointless in a sense, just a bunch of meaningless, tedious, pointless bullshit. And that's the only thing I can think of at the top of my head right now. I just felt bad for Mark because he was just sitting there like, what the fuck is this shit? And like I said, I went on Steam, I looked up the game, and I looked at the reviews and shit, and everyone was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? The creator's an asshole. The games suck. Ass. It just, you know which video I'm talking about, right, Nexus?
I'm fairly sure I know what you're talking about.
It's just the introduction of the guy, just
but
the guy just seems like an asshole.
so looking back at like historical flops, one of the most notorious historical flops for video games is Superman, like the original late '90s, early 2000s Superman.
I wouldn't know anything about like any of the Superman stuff since I don't really like Superman.
Well, I'll be giving you a little history lesson with this one. A lot of these, just anything that was involved with Superman way back in the late '90s and early 2000s was just a terrible cash grab.
Oh god.
And half the time, for a lot of these games, the basic motion controls just did not work properly. Like, you could not fly properly through these rings in this one mission that you were supposed to do in Superman 64 to try and say.
So it controlled worse than a ham sandwich?
It controlled worse than a ham sandwich without the ham.
Oh god.
Oh no!
And then there's the granddaddy of all video game flops. The very great, like, this predates me.
Oh boy.
And that is E.T. the Extraterrestrial on the Atari.
Oh my god, I think I know that one.
In the 80s. They spent
I think I've heard of that one.
They spent $21 million to get the licensing rights to use this, and paid $200,000 to secure a developer. The video game was highly anticipated, and it was like supposed to be the best thing of the 1980s. It became a popular sought-after Christmas gift. Stores were over-ordering it in anticipation for all these great sales that we're going to have. Only big bet that it completely flopped because the game was just bad. The gameplay was absolutely terrible. People half the time they couldn't understand what was going on. It sold 1.5 million units, and it's initially still one of the best titles that ever sold for the Atari. However, 3 million of those cartridges went unsold, which resulted in a big loss for Atari. Now, you don't know what they did with these? They buried them in a landfill in the New Mexico desert.
Why? That's
because this game did so badly that they decided they didn't want to see it anymore, and they just threw these things into a landfill in the desert. This game
that's not good for the earth.
This game single-handedly caused the video game crash of the 1980s. This game basically nearly killed the video games for everyone as a popular medium. They lost $536 million on this thing.
Stimky. Also, if you guys hear background noise, I'm clipping my nails.
If you hear screaming children, it's background noise.
I can't hear any screaming children.
Good, because they're outside.
Yeah.
I'll have to bite my nails later.
Now, another game that I did not realize was technically a commercial failure was Pac-Man.
What?
Yeah, Pac-Man came in 1972 as an arcade game.
Really?
In the
Pac-Man
80s,
was a flop?
Technically, when it hit the 80s, when they hit an all-time low, they decided to purchase exclusive rights. Atari decided to purchase the rights to Pac-Man from Namco. and then they released a shittier version of Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. Initial sales were a success, but they produced 12 million copies and only sold less than half of them.
Damn. We're
And like
running
it's a
short.
subpart, like it's just a bad port of the original arcade cabinet, and it holds the title of the best-selling game for the Atari 2600.
40 minutes.
Okay, I think you know what I'm thinking maybe next time would be a great topic for this would be maybe video games that never released that we had wanted to be released or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Because I got plenty of
Banjo 3.
those.
I mean, we could throw them all in
Banjo 3.
Banjo 3. I mean, this podcast could just be video games and we could just do segments. Just like ones about
I mean,
flops.
we're already running at 40 minutes, you said?
Yeah, 41 minutes. I just want to
So-
nitpick at games because while you were muted, if you couldn't hear, I was nitpicking at Shiva's
Yeah,
design.
just this should just be video game grievances in general.
Video grievances. I mean, video game grievances.
Someone check the chat.
Let me check my phone. Oh no. Is it gonna be
Do I
something stupid?
smell heresy?
I meant to know, Mike. No, I don't have heresy on me right now. If I did, I'd be licking it.
Like
Stop
you,
looking at heresy.
like you
I'll
licked your.
lick the 2-liter bottle of ginger ale next to me.
I was gonna say like you were licking your fucking Pepsi can.
Indeed.
Oh yes, we can have fun with this one.
Oh no, he turned into a plushie.
Oh no, we turned into a marketable plushie.
Someone check no, Mike, please.
I did.
Oh, I completely forgot about that game. Okay.
What game?
Rainbow Six Patriot. I completely forgot that game thing.
I don't know that one.
It was anticipated for a little while, but it was supposed to be for the 360 and PS3, and then it just got stuck into a really bad development schedule, which ended up getting it stuck in development hell. It was supposed to be like the whole entire thing is where they take down a domestic terrorist organization. But as it went on, a whole bunch of developers ended up getting fired, and after 2013, they just said, nope, it's done. We're just taking it off our release schedule. And it eventually, I think the original concept of what happened here is that it eventually became what we know today as Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh.
I was not paying attention. I was checking chat.
But yeah, it's theorized that that game basically just became Rainbow Six Siege.
Alright.
Alright.
Fulfy's getting tired.
So are you.
Oh, is Fulf okay?
Fulf getting
It's just we can actually pick up on that particular topic later as its own separate video.
Yeah.
I think that we've done a lot here, and I think that next time if we ever release this particular video, we'll have to be more prepared. If anything, this made for a good sample.
Yeah. Alright.
Made a good example of what happens when you don't plan jack diddly shit and go right off the spot.
Improv!
We're doing it live! Fuck it, we're doing it live!
We're doing it live, uncensored, uncut.
And no
That's
circumcision.
the motto of my entire fucking uploads.
Podcasters go on.
Alright.
Yeah.
3 idiots in a bean. No, wait. 3
Three-
idiots in a pod.
Yeah, 3
No,
idiots.
barrel.
3. There you go.
3 idiots in a barrel.
The Peapod podcast.
No. We'll bounce around names. We'll figure it out.
YoubTooz.
YoubTooz.
Alright, and I think that's it. For anyone who happens to end up listening to this shit show, if we ever do release this particular episode, just a good night, and God bless you all who watch this. I hope that you all are still alive. Or at least-
Enjoy looking up Balin.
Good night, fuckwads. Wait, no, not that! I'm tired! Night,
Oh, my
losers!
Oh my
Good night, everybody.
Night, losers!